Hi, everybody. My name is David, and I'm a third-year biomedical science student. And an interesting fact about me is I went to primary school in London, secondary school in Birmingham, and then sixth form in Middlesbrough in the northeast of England. So why did I choose biomedical science? So I chose biomedical science because I loved biology and chemistry. And biomedical sciences allows you to experience a bit of all the other sciences, so like neuroscience, pharmacology, and I really like that. And especially now with the current situation of the virus, biomedical science teaches you a lot about what's going on, so you understand a bit more about things going on. And another reason I chose biomedical science is in the future I wanted to go on to become a doctor, and biomedical science I believe gives you a good strong base to go on to pursue a career in medicine, to go on and become a doctor. So that was my reasons for choosing biomedical science and what I want to do in the future. So I'm in my third year, which is the final year of my degree. But first, let me tell you about how I landed in biomedical science at Queen Mary. So like you, I had my year 9 options. I chose media studies, German, RE, and drama. And you might be thinking those sound like nothing to do with science or anything related. And that was because I didn't know what I wanted to do at the start. And then as I went on to the end of year 11, where I had to decide what I needed to do next, as you can see, I had a choice to stay in education, so go on to my A levels, apprenticeship, so work and study together, or go into training. I decided I wanted to continue in education, so go into A levels, and I chose biology, chemistry, and maths for A levels. So I did A levels, and then again, I had another choice to make. Either go stay in education, work and studies or apprenticeship, and go into employment. You might be thinking I'm studying biomedical science, so I must obviously have gone to education, but no, I actually went to work and study. So I did an apprenticeship at King's College Hospital as an healthcare assistant, and then alongside I was doing a vocational course alongside working at King's College Hospital. And then whilst I was there, I realized I really wanted to go into medicine, and I loved sciences, and so I went back into biomedical science and went back into education. So if you make a decision that you decide later on, actually I don't want to make, you're not stuck there, you can go back into which other route you want to make. So some of you might know what biomedical science is and others might not. So I'm just going to give you a quick introduction to what biomedical science is. So biomedical science is the use of science in healthcare for diagnosing and treatment of diseases. So that biomedical scientists have been involved in the current pandemic, helping to find a way to diagnose people who have COVID, trying to find a vaccine. So biomedical science are heavily involved in creating and helping push for these processes. Biomedical science is usually a 3-year degree, but if you choose to go, you can choose to do a year abroad. So for example, if you wanted to learn a language, for example, you want to learn French, Queen Mary or other universities might have partners with universities abroad. You can go and study a year in that university abroad and then come back and finish your degree. Or if you want to get a taste of labs and see what working in a lab would be like because you're not sure if it's for you, you can do a year in industry where you go and work for a company for a year and then again come back to finish your degree. And then there's a foundation year as well. So if you want to, I did a foundation year, and what it did was it allowed me to experience what university was like, what my degree was like, and also it gave me a little taste of other sciences. So I did a bit of neuroscience, a bit of pharmacology, a bit of zoology. So I had a little taste of everything else, and it helped me focus. So some of my friends who did the foundation year originally wanted to do biomedical science. Then they decided, actually, I think now I'm going to go on to do genetics, medical genetics, and neuroscience. So that was one of the good things of the foundation year. So how will you be taught? So this is one of the biggest changes that I found moving from A levels and schools to university. So in school, you normally get taught in a classroom with about at most 30 people, maybe 40 sometimes. In university, your class ranges from 50 to 300 people. And I remember this green classroom on the bottom right, that was one of my first lectures, walking in and seeing people everywhere. And it just surprised me. And I was a bit nervous going in, but you get used to it as time goes on. In your degree. And this picture on the left is one of my favorite lecture theatres at Queen Mary. Because of the side glass panel, you can see what's going on outside. But lectures are not the only way you get taught. So in lectures, the lecturer stands in front and tells you about the course. And lectures aren't the only way you get taught. So you do get taught in, so this year I've added this actually, this is lectures. So once lectures are done, the lectures are recorded and they're uploaded into this. So at Queen Mary, we have something called QM+. Other universities might have something called Blackboard or other brands. And what they do, the recorded lectures are uploaded there alongside notes and any other equipment. So if you wanted to come back to the lecture, the lectures there available for you to go back to and watch over again and again, especially around revision time at the end of the year. So as I said, there are other ways you're taught at university. So there's tutorials and workshops, which is basically what you do at the moment. So in classrooms of about 10 to 30 people, and you be set a piece of work to do either in groups or individuals. So same as what you're probably doing right now. And then we also have labs. So labs, again, experiments, it's biomedical science. So we're doing a lot of lab experiments, prepping for experiments and different kinds of experiments. And then computer-based learning. So this is, it's not new, but it's something I experienced doing an experiment on a computer for the first time. So for one of our modules, we used to dissect frogs. And there was about 200-300 of us. We needed to do dissections, and that would require a lot of frogs. And because that isn't ethical to try and get all that frogs and dissect them, we moved to computer-based learning and we did the dissections online, which I think the frogs are definitely happy about, and I'm happy about as well. So moving on to the next step, biomedical sciences. So if you want to get into biomedical sciences, you don't need to start thinking about this now, but one of the things I want to bring your attention to is just, if you're deciding to go on to do A-levels after year 11, some universities ask for certain subjects at A-levels. So at Queen Mary, we ask for biology and then a second science. So you can do biology and chemistry, or biology and maths, or biology and further maths, biology and physics, or biology and psychology. Usually these courses the requirements are usually similar to what medicine asks for as well. Because a lot of people who apply for medicine usually put biomedical science as a second option as well. And then your third choice can be anything you want. So if you wanted to do art, if you wanted to do drama, you can go and do that. And then these are, so as you're doing your GCSEs now, some universities ask for a minimum requirement in your GCSEs. So 5 passes, including maths and English, at grade C or 4. So this is some requirements some universities ask for. But, and I just want to foundation year. So, but if you don't get those grades, there's a foundation year that can, if you don't quite reach the foundation year, can help you. So you do a foundation year and it will help you progress onto the course. And like I said earlier, it gives you a flavor of all these other degrees and prepares you for university. So moving on. So what will you study in your time at biomedical science? So you will study a lot of things, but I'm going to give you a few flavor of the things we do at Queen Mary, some of the subjects we cover. So this first one's called chromosome and gene function. And in this module, we look at DNA, and we use microscopes to look at DNA and separate them using a process called gel electrophoresis. So that's basically this machine. And one of the main uses of this machine is DNA fingerprinting. So in crime scenes, when they find a speck of blood or skin, they can process the DNA and spread it out. So I've got a little exercise on the next page here. So on the left here, you can see there's a daughter and a mother, and you're trying to find out who the father is. And so you'd run an electrophoresis machine. And as you can see, you try and find what is similar between the mother and the daughter, and what is missing, and which father has the missing pieces of the daughter. And so I'm giving you some time to try and figure it out. The answer is father 3. So another module we do is microbial world. And as you can see, so it's looking at the small microscopic world. So looking at bacteria, viruses, fungi under microscopes again, and running some tests on them, seeing how they operate, what the small world is, and how we can utilize them for medicine. And one of my favorites, and a lot of people favorite, especially at Queen Mary, is human anatomy. And so you look at the skeletal, muscular, and bodily systems in the body. But also, one thing we get to do at Queen Mary is we get to look at pro-sections in the lab. So what pro-sections are, which some of you might find squeamish, is real life dead bodies that have been donated to science. And we get to do some dissections and have a look at what a real life part of the body is. This is usually a good filter to see who really can go on to do medicine and who can't, because if you find it squeamish, you might struggle if you want to go and do medicine in the future. And then, so this is one of those degrees. So the reason I put it's a biomed only module is some modules, so like neuroscience and pharmacology. So neuroscience has to do with the brains, pharmacology is to do with making drugs. They have some lectures with us. So that's why the classes are as big as I said they are. And so this is just one of the, I just want to show you this. This is some of the things you have to learn. So I remember when I started Queen Mary, human anatomy was one of my first modules. And my lecturer said, you have 1 week to learn all of this. And it looked, we were all daunted, we were all scared, like, are we going to learn this in 1 week? But there were so many fun ways to learn it. And I still remember it till today, even though it was 3 years ago. I still remember all the parts of the bone. And then tissue biology. So this is looking, so the lecturers are all real doctors that work in the local hospital, and they get tissue samples from real life patients. So for example, we get sometimes cancer cells, and we get to look at what they look like under a microscope and what causes them to behave like that. And so this tissue biology, we get to look at things like that. So I've told you what you study. Now, what will my timetable look like? So in school, now you're in basically every day, 9 o'clock till 3 or 4 p.m. Well, in university, you have a lot more free time. So university is divided into 2 semesters. So you have semester A, which runs from September to December, and then semester B, which runs from January to around March, April time. And this is what our timetable looks like. And I know you're looking at this thinking, wow, I have so much free time. And it's true, you do. But what the lecturers want you to do is, with those free time, you're meant to do a lot of individual studying. So we have microbial worlds, so our lectures as well. So your normal classes at the moment is probably an hour. In university, you have 2-hour lectures and sometimes 3 hours, which was something I had to adjust to at university. So in the morning, on Mondays, I usually, in my first year, I had 2 hours of lectures the whole day, and the other time was time to catch up on any work I needed to do and read up more information on what we were taught in the lecture. And the same for Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. On Wednesday, we have a module called Essential Skill, which is basically a module to teach you how to become a biomedical scientist. So they teach you how to write papers, so which are like research papers that are published, how to present your research to people and other biomedical science like stuff like biomedical science things. So how are we examined? So at Queen Mary, we've recently introduced a January exam. So you do your first 4 modules in the first semester, and then you have exams, and then you do another set of modules, and then you have your exams. And you don't need to know this now because this changes depending on what university you go to, but essentially it's a mixture of multiple choice questions, which are you're given a question with choices to pick from. Short answer question, you're given a question with one, or if you a sentence answer required, or you might be given a table and you need to complete the table. And then there's essays that you'll be given as well that you need to write up. And something I just want to point your attention to is the duration of the exam. So as the years goes on, you have more and more, the exams are a bit longer for each module. And in school, currently you're marked with numbers. At university, we're still marked with numbers, but we're given a percentage, and each percentage you might have heard of: first class, second class, and this is what they mean. So just quickly, a 40 to 49 is a third class, and then 70 or above is a first class honors when you graduate. The majority of people try to aim for between 60 to 100, so second upper class and first upper class at university. So once you've completed a degree, what can you do with your degree? There's a lot of stuff. So like I said, I want to go on to study more and go on to do medicine, but there are other science related and non-science related jobs you can do with your degree. So you can go on to be a biomedical scientist. Like I said, I'm going to do medicine. I know there's dentistry, another popular option a lot of biomedical science students do. You can do a postgraduate degree. So if you want to, you can go on to do something called a master's, which is an extra year and you specialize even further. So you can go and look into just focusing on blood type diseases, brain diseases, so you can specialize further into a specific part of biomedical science. You can join the university research team and try and become a lecturer. So you'd still need to go on to do more studying. You can go to school, so you can join your school where you are now and go on to become a teacher at your school or another school. Research and pharmaceutical industry. So these are mainly scientific roles, but there are also non-scientific roles, like you can go on to banking, accountants. There are people who are not going to be data analysts at firms, but you can go on to be an advisor as well, or consultant. So thank you for your time. That's everything. If you have any more questions, feel free to find us at Access 18. Thank you.